Hey guys, my name is Wade, and welcome to a Fallout tier list maker. Uh, I've played Fallout for a long time. I played it since I was around 10, maybe. And I started with Fallout 3, got New Vegas like a year or two later, uh, and then got Fallout 4, didn't like it as much, but then I played the original 2 and Tactics. I loved those. Those were my favorite out of the series by far. But I digress. We are in a tier list maker. Um, First up is the Atom Cats, which are a group in Fallout 4 who were like a biker gang type deal that instead of like bikes and motorcycles, they had power armor that they painted, which I thought was a nice little faction. I did like them. Uh, they were they were okay. Didn't see enough of them though to get a full story on them. So I'm just gonna put them on meh. Next up is the Children of Atom. I'd say they were good, but flawed, only because uh, I don't like them as much as many of the other factions because they're they sit in radiation and worship bombs, basically. Like, just weird to me. The Boomers, I'd say, were good. I did like them. They were fine. Uh, Not perfect though. Um, because they kill every outsider that tries to come near them, including traders and stuff. So how are they getting trade? Uh, so yeah, they're dying out by the time you get there. Not really, but like they're starting to because they can't trade with anyone, losing missiles and scrap metal, which they need. So yeah, they're good, not great. West Coast Brotherhood of Steel, I'd say, is perfect, especially from Fallout 1. They were great, tried to stay to themselves, but actually traded with people when need be. Um, they worked with other factions and helped to keep the world alive. That was their main goal, to take weapons deemed too good for the common people and save the world from itself. Next up is the Master with his super mutants, which I loved. Uh, he's one of the bosses that you can actually fight or talk down and win that way too, which I really love. Next up, the Tribals. I'm gonna put them as a meh. Uh, they've got a nice religion story going on, like the Man in the Cave, which they mixed with Christianity because of Joshua Graham and uh, can't think of his friend's name right now, but Daniel, I believe, right? Maybe. Anyway, next up is the Enclave. Enclave, of course, is perfect. Love the Enclave in every game. I know they always fail, but that's just because they're the bad guys and have to fail. Um, so yeah, I really like the Enclave though. I wish we could join them, but I don't think that's ever going to be possible just because of who the Enclave is. They believe in purism and that they're the only pure ones left, uh, and everyone else is unpure. I don't know who that is. The family is a small group from Fallout 3. They were like vampires that you could help the some small town I can't remember the name of. Um, stop the killings happening and giving blood bags to them and uh, for protection, basically. So I'd say this one, I didn't really like them. They kind of just weird to me. I don't know. They're weird. Next up, followers of the apocalypse. I'd say they're good, not perfect, only because they're not out for themselves, while everyone else is. Uh, so people take advantage of the followers and use them a lot to their own means, which is sad to say, but it is probably what would happen if there was a followers of the apocalypse. Next up is the Great Khans. I do like the Great Khans. I'm gonna put them as good. Uh, the NCR did a number on them, because the Great Khans took Tandy in Fallout 1, and then uh, NCR hated them, so now they are just that small encampment in New Vegas, which is really sad to see. Uh, really loved them. Next up is the Brotherhood of Steel from uh, the East Coast. And I'd say meh. Just I do like their goal again with like the followers of the apocalypse. They were trying to help people, trying to regrow civilization, trying to purify water for drinking. Uh, but it doesn't really help if people can just join your faction anytime they want and then do like an inside job basically. So an enclave member literally could have just said, "Oh, I want to be initiated," and then done what the enclave couldn't because they were kind of stupid in 3. Let's face it. Uh Next up is the Brotherhood of Steel from Fallout Tactics. I did like them, like their story. Um, I believe, yeah, they did help people, but that wasn't their main goal. So they're kind of in between the West and the East. They were helping, but also uh, just seeking out technology so that they could save the world. So they are basically the best of both worlds for humans. Um, Next is the Institute. Didn't like them, didn't like their story. Uh, they couldn't keep their robots in check, made them too intelligent, so they started running away. Uh, yeah. And then we also have the Railroad, who has an army of androids, right? But they don't they can't use them because they're sending them off to locations and making them lose their memories, not using them against the Institute, which they should be doing, because then they can free more. But they don't, so they are now just a tiny little fraction of what they were in Fallout 3, I believe. Next is the Kings. The Kings I do like, I love them. One of the only places in Freeside that was left standing was the King's impersonating area, and people started worshiping him. I can speak as a god. Next up is the Legion. I'm gonna say good but flawed, because I did like them. They were a nice little group, um, but after Caesar dies, they're all going downhill from there. They can't really sustain themselves without Caesar, unless they become like super intelligent, start reading books and stuff uh, about Roman age and all of that. Next up is the Bright Followers, I believe they're called. I also do not like them. Uh, the one guy really believed he was a ghoul, and these guys were just like, nah, you can't come with us. You're not a real ghoul. Like, I understand he probably would have died in there trying to save his life, but if he wants to go, let him go. It's up to him to go. So, they were kind of snooty, in my opinion. And they made the character do everything. It was a fetch quest, and it's one of the only missions I really didn't like in New Vegas. Next up is the White Legs, I believe they're called. Not horrible, but definitely not great or perfect. Um, I just don't think they would really do that well. Uh, but I did like how they humanized their leader, unlike the Legion, who's Lanius, is meant to be scary and big, uh, and frightening to even hear about because he's the monster of the East or whatever. But yeah, that's all I have to really say about the White Legs. Next up is the Minutemen. Good but flawed. I just don't want to play a good guy when most of the games have like a morally gray area. And yeah, I just don't like them as well as I could have. Next up, Powder Gangers. Uh, I'm gonna say not great because you only really side with them if you're doing like an evil character or are just trying to do their quests, like every single quest in the game or something. I don't know. Uh, I've sided with them 0 times actually. I always choose Goodsprings and the people of Goodsprings. I just don't really like the powder gangers. Speaking of which, NCR, good but flawed. Um, they spend all the taxes on statues of 2 giant men shaking hands, and of them sending their prisoners with dynamite to camps. Uh, and then they escape. So they're not too smart. They expand too quickly. They spend taxes on things they shouldn't. Uh, it's basically the Tower of Dublin. Spire, sorry, not Tower. Uh, I don't know who they are. They're in 76, it looks like, based on the trees and the graphics alone. Don't know them. Don't know these guys either. Haven't played 76 in a long time. Um, Next up is the Outcast from Fallout 3, which I find they were better than the uh, Brotherhood of Steel from Fallout 3 because they were actually just the West Coast on the East Coast, which I like. Up next is Riley's Rangers. They don't really do much. Uh, they're just kind of there, man. They have like a couple quests and then you're done. Next up, these guys kind of sucked. Not gonna lie. Uh, they were good, but I think they did some heinous stuff, man. Uh, can't remember. Didn't read all the documents. Haven't watched Oxhorn or any of those guys' videos on them because I couldn't be bothered for 76. Uh, I'm just gonna put these with tribals. Uh, Basically, same type of groups. Uh, Next up is whoever that is. Don't know them. Uh, and then the Tunnel Snakes. Gotta love the Tunnel Snakes. Everyone loves the Tunnel Snakes. Butch becoming a hairdresser or whatever he is. That's great. Love it. fits with their whole gang style, you know. Yeah, that's about it. Um, this was actually pretty fun to make. I enjoyed it. Uh, it's just a personal opinion. If you have other opinions, tell me in the comments or make your own video on this. I don't care, man. Uh, yeah, that's about it. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day, night, whenever you watch this. I don't know. I can't read minds, dude. Uh, but yeah, thank you for watching. Bye bye.